All right, y'all. So let's talk about Shawn Porter versus Danny Garcia. This past Saturday's fight, real quick. I'm gonna be doing a more in-depth, talk discussion about this on the Jab Effect. That's where I do my strictly anything and everything boxing podcast with Boxing P. But this overall fight, man, it was like I said on the podcast. If you over there listen to the podcast in our last episode, I did pick Shawn Porter to win by unanimous decision, but I thought it was gonna be an easier unanimous decision for Shawn Porter. Once you go back and look at this fight, some of the things Shawn Porter was doing, I mean, maybe he wanted to try some new things, but he could have won. He could have won this fight a lot easier than he did. If he would have if there was any time to be the fighter that he was in the past, this was the fight to do it. He was going in there against Danny Garcia. Somebody who moved up from 140 to 147. I know he's been at 147 for a few years now, but if there was any time to be that bully, this was the fight. Because I mean, once you go back and look at Danny Garcia's style, me and Boxing P, we were trying to pinpoint his style, because he's not really like a thinking boxer. He's definitely not like a pressure fighter that comes forward, even though he is flat-footed, and he does have the power. I think my best way to describe Danny Garcia is that he's more of a reaction fighter. If you kind of stand back and you don't get in his chest, you're just giving him time to think, and not really think, but just kind of see what you do. He's kind of going to react off of that and just kind of counter with with his basic punches, the left hook or the right hand. He's not really a guy who's going to try to build up points. So that was my thing. First half of the fight, it was kind of unusual, how Shawn Porter was kind of, giving Danny a lot of respect. He was kind of standing back and letting Danny kind of do what he wants, and it made Danny look better than I thought, Danny ever looked. He was kind of like walking Shawn Porter down from the very beginning. Anytime Shawn Porter was trying to bull rush, he would kind of clinch him, and he was kind of looking stronger than, I felt he would be. He was looking a lot stronger. There was a lot of times whenever, Shawn Porter, he was just on that back foot for no reason. Like I said, he should have been coming in, stalking forward, because every time he does that, he was giving Danny a lot of time to, like I said, react off of what he does. And when he reacts like that, he's able to set up a good counter. But if Shawn Porter would have just, kept him on the back foot, not even like bull rushing him all the time, but just kind of giving him that effective pressure, Danny, he wouldn't have ever really had a chance to set up those counters like he was doing in the center of the ring. Danny's better in the center of the ring. And like, if you go to Jab Effect, listen to the last episode of our podcast, I kind of compared the texture of this fight like with Antonio Tarver versus Glenn Johnson, where Antonio Tarver, he's kind of a guy that likes to wait a little bit and kind of see what his opponent does, but every time Glenn Johnson would rush him, it would kind of keep him on that back foot, and his counters wasn't as strong. But every time Shawn Porter in the same situation would kind of step back, that's how Danny Garcia was able to kind of run the center of the ring, where Shawn Porter, he should have kept Danny Garcia on the ropes the whole night. Even if he wasn't going to be exerting too much energy, just try to keep him in them corners on his back foot. Don't let him get his feet planted. But first half of the fight, I had to give it 4 rounds to 2 for Danny Garcia, just off of effective counterpunching and the effective shots. Because those good right hands he was setting up, and the left hooks he was setting up on Shawn Porter in those exchanges. They were just some good, accurate shots. And I think he landed the better shots in that first half. The right hand from Shawn Porter was kind of falling short, because every time Danny kind of leans in with his head, kind of leaned it down, Shawn Porter would kind of try to do that chopping right hand. But every time he did that chopping right hand, he'd be missing he would kind of brush the top of Danny's head. He wasn't giving the full-on effect. He should have just been landing a good straight right hand. But second half of the fight, that's when even Kenny Porter, he was telling Shawn Porter to kind of turn it up, that, hey, you need to fight this guy, doing some of those other little things. He just needed to go in there and fight. And that's where he kind of started turning on the second half. What he was doing in the second half was what he should have been doing in the first half, as far as, applying that effective pressure already and starting to bully a little bit. And then the second half is probably could have, when he could have been closing the show. You know, he would have had Danny exhausted by the second half had he did what he did, you know, in the second half in the very beginning of the fight. You know, that's when he started to really turn it on and, you know, start to muscle him a little bit more and get in more combinations. You know, not really hard combinations, but he started getting some more combinations on Danny Garcia, and I think that's where Danny, you know, he kind of let some rounds fall short. But around 10, 11, and 12, I had to give Shawn Porter 11 and 12 in the fight. You know, like I'm saying, Danny, he was still game, and the reason I think he was game is because Shawn Porter was letting him be game. But if you're the type to, you know, not give him any breathing room, especially in this weight division, you know, I expected Shawn Porter to put more pressure, welterweight pressure on him, to not, you know, give him any type of chance. I mean, if you go back and look at the Keith Thurman fight, I had that like 9 rounds to 3. All of those 9 rounds, Keith Thurman was putting welterweight power and welterweight pressure on Danny Garcia. But the rounds he took off, those are the rounds he won because he had time to kind of react off of what Keith Thurman did and do what he wanted. But overall, it was a good fight. I think it could have been a better performance from Shawn Porter as far as, you know, trying to close the show if he really wanted to look like one of the elite in the division. But from here, you know, as you know, Errol Spence, he came in, you know, voiced his opinion that, hey, I want this fight next. You know, I want this fight. And Shawn Porter said there's no reason it should be made, but, you know, I just want to hear, yeah, I want this fight too. You know, I just want to hear it straight up. I just want to hear, yes, I want this fight. But yeah, I mean, really, this is it. I mean, next year, you know, the beginning, the first quarter of the year, this is how it should be happening. This unification fight. There's really no other fights we want to see. You know, if you go look on our Instagram, the Jab Effect, you know, we got Crawford, Garcia, Thurman, Porter, and Spence, and now Garcia, he's off that list. So in the meantime, we want to know how Keith Thurman is looking as far as getting right. So while he's trying to get right, Spence and Porter, they need to go ahead and, you know, do this unification fight. Whoever wins that gets Keith Thurman by then for the undisputed crown. So, you know, I don't have any problems with that. Let me know if you have any problems with that. But overall, like I said, it was a good fight, decent fight, good welterweight fight. You know, finally got these two in the ring to go ahead and hash it out and, you know, move on from here. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this one. Like I said, go over to the YouTube channel, The Jab Effect, as well as thejabeffect.com. You can subscribe to our podcast, hashtag Jab Podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud. It's called Just Absolutely Boxing. Check out that show with me, Combo Breaker 99 Boxing P. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Peace.